What's up? It's your boy Greg Redden, G Redden. Uh, in this segment entitled "Smoking Pot with Greg in Iowa," we'll call this one. Um, I'm gonna discuss a couple things, but first I'd like to say that it was fucking cool to get a vacay and spend a couple days in Omaha. I always get treated well in Omaha. I love Omaha, but um, yeah, I feel better, and that's always good. Um, So that said, I'm gonna ponder a couple questions after I hit this old here, like janky ass fucking glass piece full of marijuana. Just bear with me. You wanna hold that punk in? Woo. Beam me the fuck up, Scotty. What is it? I'm filming. Yeah. You're welcome to come in. Okay. Anyway, that was no nobody important, but what was I doing? Saying? Oh, that short-term memory thing. Oh yeah, I was gonna ponder a couple questions, serious questions. My life certainly isn't a joke. Neither will these questions be. Uh, Questions like, why are phone calls, local phone calls, mind you, to anybody across the board, $15 a piece, that must be prepaid by the person receiving the call in jail, any jail? Why are they $15 a fucking call? Are you kidding me? Why is the commissary overpriced to the hilt for inmates, and they can only buy? The only way you can provide for yourself in jail is by going to the commissary, which is basically a store where you can buy food or clothing, and you don't really have any choice because you can't have your clothing brought in for you. You can't have snacks brought in for you. And it's a big fucking business, and none of the money goes into any amenities for the inmates. If you think people are in there getting their life better, no, they're sitting there, and it's psychological torture, if you ask me, because I've certainly been through enough of it. But for anybody who goes through it, and the laws in this country are so fucked up. I mean, they're constructed and broad in wording, various wording, so basically they can tie in anything, and there's so many numerous, endless amounts of laws out there on the books, and they're differing from state to state. So if they don't like you in this agenda or this system, you're fucked. And but there is a positive out of it. I've certainly lived through it for 8 years, so I mean, it can be done. And my hope is that it's easier for the people that come after me. Maybe they won't have to go through some of the struggles I have. Now, you just ponder that for a sec while I take another hit of this pot. Hold that bucket, remember. By the way, do you like my janky ass pot pipe? I love it. It's so grotesque and morose that I love the motherfucker. Um, Not really that much, but it's janky. Whoa. What are we doing here? Whatever the fuck I want. That's what I do. Um, what else? What else? Yeah, why can you not call a bail bondsman from in jail? You cannot call the bondsman. You have to have your people call the bondsman. Prepaid calls, they might be $5 a phone call for a local fucking phone call. Sometimes calling out of state is cheaper, but it's still an exorbitant fee to charge anybody, let alone the people who end up getting the brunt of any charges, the people that cannot afford to bond themselves out and afford proper legal representation or pay off the man basically. to get out of those charges. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not downing that. If you've got money, certainly I have before and used it in illegal situations. But if you don't, you're fucked. You are fucked. And that's the way it is in modern day America. That is the way it is. And I hope by sharing some of this, just like endless amounts of people I will never name, who have shared things with me along the way, and that I've incorporated into my own, thing, for lack of a better word. What are we at? 5:37. Well, what else? Oh yeah. I'm just gonna put it out there like this. I'm facing currently 2 charges, and they're felonies. Stick with me. They're felonies in the state of South Dakota. Now, about 6 months ago, or so there, we'll say, I was driving my car that I own, without insurance or driver's license. Now, the gentleman that I met the night before, who was in my car, I told him I do not have a license. I do not have insurance. I said, I do not ride with anything in the car. If you need to, leave it at my place. Sure. Okay. Well, I was meeting a person that I had been talking to online in a chat forum, and we were going to meet up. And I did not want to discard my friend. Anyway, he went along with. But when I got over to North Sioux City, South Dakota, which is right over the border from Sioux City, Iowa, they're not, I mean, they run together. When I got over there, when I went over to the guy's place, I knocked on the door. Nobody there. So I tried to get a hold of him. He said he was at McDonald's. I went to McDonald's. I called him. He gave me another address. Or actually, we were doing this in chat, and I've got the transcripts uploaded to cloud sites, secure cloud sites, and so after McDonald's, he sent me to another address, and we were texting this, and he said, oh, and I've got screenshots of all the texts. He texted, I forget. Hold on, give me a second. Is that short-term memory? Oh yeah. So anyway, I get to the third address, and second address. Sorry, I'm not that stupid, but I got to the second address, and yeah, he wasn't there, and he said, yeah, and I thought, fuck this, I'm going home. I got on the interstate, and I remember it's differing than the paperwork I've seen so far on this, that I was at a different exit or a different place, because I was right at the North Sioux City, South Dakota exit on I-29 and going north. So, through Sioux City and yeah, right. But as soon as I went to go exit, boom, lights behind me. Now, I'm not stupid. I'm really not that bad of a guy, man. Anyway, so I see lights. I pull over immediately. I've been through this before, But so what? I ain't got anything on me. I never travel with anything illegal. And if I do, I certainly can dispose of it. I'm going to leave it at that. I take responsibility for myself, my actions, and what I possess or never do. So here's the thing. So she comes up to the window, which, by the way, I was also got like 4 clips off of that still in my cloud spaces that I have not shared, because it's my own media right now. I can do with it what I want, but I haven't decided that yet. Anyway, she comes up to the window. I said, well, I have no license, insurance. Am I going to jail? Yes, you are. They put me in handcuffs, took me to the back of the car, searched me. Of course, nothing on me. I know you ain't never going to find anything real incriminating on me ever, because I just don't carry it. So she said to me, the female officer, okay, this was an interesting thing, and it's gonna be interesting when this plays out because there's conflicting reports. Basically, there were two separate. There was a North Sioux City police trooper, and then there was also a highway trooper that pulled me over simultaneously because right away there were two chicks um, on up to the window and stuff, and she asked me, is there anything in the car? No, absolutely not. I don't ride dirty, man. I ain't like that. And is there anything on the passenger? And I said, no. He's just tired because he was sleeping. I said, that's not in any way out of ordinary. Somebody to be, how the fuck does she, he was tired. So anyway, I told her, no, of course not. He's just tired. Okay, well, I'm going to jail. Yeah, okay. She put me in the back of the squad car. Then they go up there and they're talking to Desmond McPhail. I won't name names, but no. Here's the thing. I have no ill will or ill content for that person. It's just the fact that now I'm getting charged. Besides what I'll get to, oh well, the two felonies. Besides the possession by ingestion, and if you do not know this, I'll explain this real quick. In South Dakota, specifically, there might be other states, but very few, none I've ever been to. It can be illegal to internally possess an illegal substance. So if you tell them that you've been getting high, or if they know of you getting high, or yada yada yada, by people telling, one thing possibly could be, all these rats going up and telling, that shit's got to stop. But yeah, so fuck, where was I? Give me a sec. The possession. So if they think so, they can get a warrant at that point because this happened to me. We went to jail. I don't know. They talked to the gentleman, my co-passenger, for a while, and we got in the back seat, and we're both intelligent. He's not a bad guy, but possession by ingestion. So they can get a warrant to pull your urine, and if you do not consent to give them your urine, they will take you down to the hospital by ambulance and insert a catheter into your cock. Or I suppose if you were a woman, it would be into your vagina, which, if you ask me, is nothing other than just formal rape. I mean, rape doesn't necessarily have to be a sexual act. I certainly would not feel bad qualifying sticking a catheter into somebody you've kidnapped from society. And from some of these SS troopers kidnapping and putting a catheter in them. Now, when they threatened me with that, I said, yeah, I'll give it up. I really didn't see any benefit in going to the hospital and getting, by no choice of my own, a catheter rammed up the head of my dick. It just wasn't happening. But in retrospect, I almost think it would have been a better defense, but there's no reason anybody should have to go through this shit. But anyway, I'll go back to my story on the car. So anyway, I get to jail, and yada yada yada. I'm in a holding cell for 24 hours. Now, one of the scary things about South Dakota's jail, especially, the one in Elk Point, is the phone system there. Everywhere I've been to Denver jails, Las Vegas. The phone systems are just horrendous. There's no free calling, no contacting your people. It's outrageous the rates they charge. And But yeah, and over in South Dakota, man, I got in that cell and they had a phone on the wall, and your people have to call in. I mean, it's so unbelievably hard to get a hold of anybody. One, to tell them to send you money, because how many people, think of this, how many people want or are able, let's leave it at that, are able to accept a phone call that's $15 on their credit card? A lot of people don't have valid, I mean, like credit lines on their credit cards because, you know, it just is what it is. But um, yeah, if you, it should not be that way. My heart goes out to everybody who has to deal with this. Um, now, okay, after that, I remember. Oh yeah, initially they came into my cell after a period of time and said, "You're getting charged with yada yada yada." And basically, it was no insurance, no license. Um, what else? They had asked me to take my urine, or if I consented to do a urine test initially. I said no. So that, um, oh yeah, another one was internal possession of marijuana. Not because I possessed it, but because I had verbally, audibly stated to this lady that I had smoked pot 2 days ago. You know, and I just don't think that should be ever a fucking crime for anybody. And I'm, bear with me, my heart goes out to everybody who has to deal with the same thing. That's a lot of the reason why I choose to be vocal about it. You know, in a cold production, meaning you can watch it if you want, and hopefully people do and learn something, or just entertain, whatever. But back to point, back to Hugh, back down to, yeah. So anyway, they come in. Oh yeah, besides those charges, well, they charged me with possession internally of marijuana because I audibly stated to her. Now, if I wouldn't have, they wouldn't have known. But I'm so used to Iowa. Like occasionally, I'll be the officers over here, and they know me. I ain't getting into all that, but they all know who I am. And sometimes, in the past, we've been joking. They've been like, "Sir, have you done this, this, this?" I'm like, "No," but that doesn't account for that big fat pot intensive blunt I smoked this morning. And we'll, have a laugh, or they'll say, "I saw that video on YouTube of you smoking pot in front of the federal building." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, that was me." But um, yeah, so over there, you don't want to be doing that if you're over there. Ever tell an officer, especially in South Dakota, or ever tell an officer, you don't have to tell them they're high. Even if they want to trick you and like say, like, do this to see you're high, you don't have to tell them shit. You just lie. In that instance, I would speak from personal experience. I would just say, no, I ain't. that's that's not true. Well, your heart rate is, well, how do you know? I'm anxiety ridden. I take medicine for anxiety. What's wrong with you? Like trying to kidnap me and, fuck with my gourd, man. I'm thinking, Anyway, so they came to me and said, "You're also being charged with possession based off of what they pulled off of Mr. McPhail being a, a meth pipe, and there was also a baggie." At this point, I'm gathering this from the paperwork that I have received and choose to not be afraid to publicly state. So, um, that said, um, oh, they said based on the, it was in the car, but then it was pulled off of him. Some of the paperwork that, again, that I was getting to, it says that it was pulled off out of his sock, like the pipe, and that a baggie of methamphetamine had been pulled off of him. And apparently there was a CO2 tank in the car because he wanted to put it under the seat or whatever. Anyway, I didn't tell him all that. I don't make statements, never have. And I just said, well, like I told you, there wasn't anything in the car. Anyway, so they said they were charging me with these, and I'll be honest with you, sitting in that cell, that segregation cell, that basically solitary confinement. I've spent plenty of time, and unfortunately, it's disgusting. Anybody does, but even me, it's disgusting that we have to go through this at all. But so it really sank into me. I thought, I've been in prison once, and I got out in 2004 and was off parole by 2005. And I learned back then, because I did things at that time that were stupid, and I was much younger then, and I've learned from that. And it was like theft and forgery. But anyway, I'm not going to get into all of that. The point being, um, hmm, I forgot where it was at. Okay, so anyway, oh yeah, it really set in at that point that this is fucked up, man. Oh yeah, I went to prison when I was younger. I'm back on track. Went to prison when I was younger, and I learned at that time I'll never go back to this. And this ain't for me, because the system, and it's a lot more fucked up now than it was then. But for everybody, and um, so what's that? Here, give me a sec.